This is the Midway region, a Pokemon region based on the Midwest, and today we are going to continue our journey by looking at each of the Pokemon types. And today's type is the Fighting type. The Midway region has a ton of fighting types for you to catch, so we'll have a lot to go over, as well as the fighting type gym leader, but we'll see that later. So let's start with arguably the most popular fighting type used by lots of trainers in the region. This is Tyrogue, a fighting type and the Scuffle Pokemon. Now wait just a darn second. That Tyrogue looks different, and I hear you, random viewer. That's because this is Midway Tyrogue. Still a fighting type, the swarm of Tyrogue has been separated from its Jotonian cousin long ago due to a phenomenon known as allopatric speciation. The Tyrogue in Midway adopted a new form. However, in Midway, Tyrogue does not evolve into Hitmonlee, Hitmonchan, or Hitmontop. Rather, it evolves into 3 new Pokemon. Let's take a look. After some training and making sure your Tyrogue has a higher attack stat than a special attack stat, it will evolve into Hitmoncoppa, a fighting and ground type, and the lacrosse Pokemon. Hitmoncoppa are known to rush down their opponents with what seems like infinite stamina and crush them into the dirt. It will use its scoop-like hands to plow through any obstacle in its way. After some training and making sure your Tyrogue has a higher special attack stat than their attack stat, it will evolve into Hitmontouja, a fighting and flying type, and the archery Pokemon. Hitmontouja will use their specially developed anatomy to launch arrow-like energy projectiles at their opponents. Their aim is also impeccable, after spending all their time training with their bow-like appendage. And finally, train your Tyrogue with a balanced attack stat and special attack stat, and it will evolve into Hitmonhaw, a fighting and fairy type, and the dancer Pokemon. Hitmonhaw have an innate sense of rhythm, and use this to their advantage to read the patterns of their opponent's attacks. The growths on their hips are able to produce a noise similar to a drum, and the bones in their hands can shake to mimic a rattle. It will produce their own music to confuse and mystify their opponents. I had read a piece of Abenaki mythology and learned about the Padogiic, which in some legends referred to 3 warriors of golden hair and blue eyes and white skin. I thought, with 3 warriors, it could make for an interesting group counterpart to the 3 original Hitmons. Of course, the aspects they represent are that of a native origin, being lacrosse, archery, and dancing. So, way back when I had made my Route 1 video, I had introduced the Pokemon known as Intimidate. Intimidate is just a bug type, and if you want to learn more about it, you should go watch that video. However, the reason it is in this video is because it does, in fact, evolve into a fighting type. That being said, after a bit of training, Intimidate will evolve into Bravad, a bug and fighting type. Bravad will use their massive insectoid strength to lift things that are much heavier than they are. They love to fight and are surprisingly good at it, but will never challenge a weaker opponent to an all-out fight. Now that you know what Intimidate evolves into, would you add it to your team? Let me know in the comments if you would, and even if you wouldn't, also let me know if there's anything that you think should become a Midway Pokemon. I read all the comments, so let me know if you have any good ideas. Both Intimidate and Bravad are based on shield bugs. However, they take on the inspiration of Native American shields, especially those of the Lakota people. While traveling through the Midway region, you might come across this man. This is Kane Terrell, a Taekwondo teacher here in the Midway region, but also Midway's own fighting type gym leader. If you look here, this is a Glid card, aka a gym leader identification card. This is a must-wear for any Midway gym leader, as they are required to work a job alongside being a gym leader, but must also accept a battle request anytime, anywhere. That being said, battle Kane when he isn't working, and you'll have yourself a classic one-on-one gym battle. But battle Kane when he is working at his training school, and you'll have a unique battle experience. Let's take a look. So, the battle begins, in his dojo found at Fort Cheetah Buff. It is a double battle, and with a crowd gathered, you'll find that there are 3 judges whom are, well, judging this fight. During the fight, a judge will call out for you to use some category of an attack, such as a biting move, like Crunch, Poison Fang, Thunder Fang, or Ice Fang, etc. A slicing move, like Razor Leaf, Night Slash, Razor Shell, or Sacred Sword, etc. Or even a multi-strike move like Dual Chop, Boomerang, Double Kick, or Twin Needle, etc. With a bunch of other categories like dance moves, punching moves, and many more. Using any of the categories of moves once called will allow your Pokemon to hit a super effective damage no matter what. But that goes for Kane as well. Do you think you could defeat Kane? The sheer diversity of his Pokemon's movesets will definitely give him an edge. Defeating Kane in battle will reward you with the Punch-Out badge and will make you one step closer to the Pokemon League. Alright, let's get back into it. You probably noticed a couple of new Pokemon during that fight. So, let's dive right in. This is Territory, a dark and fighting type, and the patrol Pokemon. Territory are known to police the marshlands that they call home. They will even go as far as to use underhanded tactics to make sure that they keep their homes safe from intruders. Territory are based on red-winged blackbirds, whom are known to be very territorial, hence the name, but also partially based on your everyday police officer / military police with the armband and everything. Maybe its shiny will be blue. I think that could be cool. Alright, so this little guy is Hell Metal, a fighting and steel type. If you want to learn more about Hell Metal, you gotta go check out the Turning Sports Teams in the Pokemon video, but to keep it short, Hell Metal are born with their helmet and use it to train since it's so heavy. After some training, Hell Metal will evolve into Maverick, a fighting and steel type, and the Bulwark Pokemon. This Pokemon use their muscles that are harder than iron to pummel its opponents. Both Hell Metal and Maverick are a combination of the Minnesota Vikings and the MSU Mavericks. So, this is Bash Tater, a grass and fighting type. By now you might recognize that if this Pokédex layout is already completed, it means that this Pokemon was revealed in an earlier video. And of course, in this case, the video I'm referring to is the grass type video, so make sure you check that video out as well. Bash Tater will evolve after being given a Sunstone. This is Poundtata, a grass and fighting type. Poundtata are able to use all of their arms to land devastating blows on their opponents, and they do not care how bruised and beat up they become. So, now we get to take a look at this last one, which is all brand new. This is Brewstygeist, a ghost and fighting type, and the out cold Pokemon. Brewstygeist will form from the negative energy that is gathered all together after someone loses a nighttime brawl. This energy will find its way into a broken bottle, taking the form of a strange bubbling liquid and becoming a Brewstygeist. If it isn't obvious, Brewstygeist is a convergent form for Sinistea / Poltergeist. That being said, just like how Sinistea evolves with a cracked / chipped pot, or Poltergeist with its teacups, give Brewstygeist the festive mug item and it will evolve into Sinistine, a ghost and fighting type. With all its new room, Sinistine can spread out and relax. But don't be fooled by its goofy nature. This Pokemon can switch out to an all-out fighting move like the flip of a switch. So, you may have seen my other videos where there's a strange energy found throughout Midway region. This energy will allow certain Pokemon to gain 2 new forms, since dubbed urban and rural forms. It just so happens that Sinistine is one of those Pokemon. Bring Sinistine to Rust Town in the urban zone and it will be ready to change. This is Urban Sinistine, a pure fighting type. This form of Sinistine has chosen to forego its previous home of the glass mug and turn for a large keg, though doing so makes it less mobile. It seems its strange liquid is taking on more of a darker brew. Bring a Sinistine to Grand Overlook in the rural zone and it will be ready to change. This is World Sinistine, a pure ghost type. This form of Sinistine is chosen to forego its previous home of the glass mug in turn for an old barrel. Though doing this makes it less defensive, it seems this strange liquid takes on more of a fruity brew. Which Sinistine form would you put on your team? Or maybe you prefer the OG Sinistine? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Doing this means a lot, and it shows me that you want more Midway region. That being said, that's all for today, so keep your eyes peeled for the next Pokemon type in this list, that being Ghost. Here's the list so far, so let me know in the comments which type you might want to see next. And keep those running shoes on, trainers.